So we've made a few more changes in this area at the side of the kitchen. We've taken a bit more rubbish away, tidied up a little bit more in the shed. We've also added something quite exciting to this area. What have you got going on here?
My new oven. Pizza oven. It's gonna be a lot of baking, a lot of pizzaing. I'm not sponsored by Uni. I wish I was sponsored by Uni, but yeah, I've been wanting this baby for like 2 years. Been saving money bit by bit, and finally got it. Self-Christmas present. Really happy with it.
Well, we haven't used it yet, so...
Yeah, but I'm still happy and proud of it. So, yeah, we'll test it. We'll test it this weekend.
Yeah.
There's going to be some pizza content coming your way. Is this how I coded mid-movement? It was falling.
Tell the camera how we found this hatchet in the shed.
How did we find it? It was just in the shed.
I found it in the shed. Yeah.
It was just in the shed. Looks a bit haunted. Looks like it's seen some action.
That wasn't a very good explanation.
What?
Say, we found this hatchet in the shed.
Okay. In Spanish?
No, in English.
Okay. So we find this... what are you laughing at now? I was looking for a hatchet. I wanted to buy one. And then we found this while cleaning the shed.
Yeah.
From the previous owner. It's like a handmade handle. I really like the angle, how it goes down. It's really... It's really useful. So I want to restore it with the sander. Make it shiny, make it sharp again. I think it's going to be a good one.
Good for these little logs that we're going to burn in the pizza oven tonight. I don't know if this is fully dry though. Where did you get this wood from?
Here.
What do you mean here?
It was here.
Yeah, but before it was here, where was it?
No, I'm not going to use this one. I'm not going to use this one.
Yeah.
Lo voy a cortar.
So what I've been doing now is just chopping up wood into the perfect size for Mauro to use in his pizza oven and also in his little stove in his office. Both of those things take quite small pieces of wood, so this obviously needs to dry out, but I'm just chopping it up into the right size now. It's easier to chop when it's still green. All the rest of this stuff is for the strimmer, so this is the false acacia that we cut 2 of its big limbs off. I'm still in 2 minds what to do with the remaining limb. I was going to take the whole tree down because it's right in the middle of where we want to put a table, but then some friends came over and they got me thinking that does it matter if it's sort of incorporated into the table somehow? Could I somehow use the trunk as part of the pergola thing? So I'm not really sure. We've left 1 limb on it and yeah, we'll leave it like that until I've kind of decided what I want to do. So now I need to take all this stuff over to the chipper. With this wood all out of the way, which had kind of fallen onto this lavender plant here, well, firstly it's smelling really nice because it crushed the lavender and the lavender's released all its scent. But I'm also gonna just tidy up a little bit this little area here where I am. I'm gonna make this little patch a little bit narrower. I'm gonna keep it as a bed along here, but I'm just gonna move the rocks in a bit. And I'm gonna make it hopefully just a row of lavender, maybe some thyme and some other like fragrant herbs along here. I think it'd just be a nice border to this area that's gonna be a nice seating area. I think I'm gonna put some gravel on it as well. I think that would look nice. This is all mulch, I guess, from the fallen leaves of the cypress which was here. It's quite nice and rich and some of it is even quite well broken down, but I'm gonna take it to the compost so it can finish composting and breaking down, because if I leave it here this bed's just going to be firstly too high, and also I'm not sure that lavender really likes this kind of porous floor stuff. Lavender's more like a sandy, free draining, dry kind of soil plant, I think, so Yeah, this stuff is like super rich. It's really nice. So that's the last little plant planted. We've got 6 lavenders, and I also put in some thyme and some rosemary along here. Just nice, fragrant, perennial things that I thought would grow well here. I've given them all a good water in and a little bit of compost, but hopefully once they're all settled and established, they won't need a lot of water or attention here. The big lavender at the end, I've never watered it and it seems to be doing really well. It kind of feels a bit weird to buy lavender and rosemary particularly, because it just grows everywhere here. We've already got plenty of plants that we could take cuttings from, but I just wanted to get this bed done, so I bought the plants. I didn't want to wait for the cuttings to take root and grow. So there we are. Now I'm going to do a couple more things. I'm going to try and prune back this huge lavender here because I want to shift the edge of the bed that's kind of going around it more in line with the rest of the bed here. I think we've gained about a foot of space by having shifted this bed back a bit and made it a bit narrower, which is good because we want the space for a nice big table here. So I'm gonna research a bit how to prune a lavender bush. I was gonna put gravel down here, but I've changed my mind. I think I'm gonna put wood chip instead because the rest of this area is gonna be gravelled and I want the bed to look different, separate from the gravel area. So as you might have seen in a previous video, the sink has now arrived. I'm really looking forward to installing the sink, but before I do that I want to have more areas that are actually usable in the kitchen, more surfaces, more cupboards, more space for storage, because we're going to be ripping out that side of the kitchen, which is quite a useful side of the kitchen, so I'd like to have a bit more of it kind of roughly built first. So I'm thinking of doing some cabinets and some countertops in this corner behind me where we've got the sink and we've got a pile of squash. And then we'll sort of move the washing up station over here and at least have some more counter space over here. But of course to do that I've got to move the fridge, I've got to move all the squash, I've got to find a home for all of this stuff that's piled up in the corner. So in order to do that, I've been putting in the shelves in the cabinets that I've already built. So that I can start storing stuff in these cupboards even though they're not ready yet. I've just laid the shelves on the bracket so they're not fixed. I'll probably take them out and like paint the front bit and maybe paint the sides, and I've still got to lay the tiles on the floor and stuff, but just so that I can get going building some stuff over here, we're going to move all of this stuff and put it away in the cabinets. There was some pretty dusty squash at the bottom of that pile, so I'm just giving them a wash. There was also one that didn't quite make it through the winter, poor guy. This one doesn't feel too good either. I wonder if it'll be alright for the chickens. Let's see what it's like on the inside. Yeah, probably not. It's a weird colour, weird smell, weird texture. I think it's going in the compost. So today, while I've got a bit more space in this corner of the kitchen, I'm going around with this silicone for roof tiles. Not sure if it's just for roof tiles or roofs in general, but it's a terracotta coloured silicone. And I'm filling in the little gaps between all of the roof tiles. In our case, it's not for like leaks or anything like that, or for insulation, because there's a big slab of concrete on top of this roof. We don't get any leaks, and there's no air escaping through these gaps. But I just want to close in all the gaps so that it's like a more solid, I don't know, surface to paint. And also because we do sometimes get like insects, particularly wasps, come in here and sometimes go up in between the cracks. Hopefully that won't happen when we've got actual windows and doors, but just so that it's all nice and sealed in, that's what I'm doing. I think that's it. I think we're out. Yep. So that's interesting, I guess. I've used a whole one of these. I haven't even done one run. But I am pretty happy with how it's looking. It's a little messy, but I think it'll be fine once it's painted. And it's getting in all the cracks and filling them all up, so that's good. Just gonna take a while to do the entire roof. Before I could start on the second set of kitchen cabinets and countertops, we suddenly realised we were due for a week of rain starting in a couple of days' time. Since it had been dry for months, we'd kind of got complacent and there was so much stuff that we needed to do, not least tidy up the mountains of stuff we'd left outside over the last few months. I also wanted to wash this fleece which I've had since the summer, since it was one of my plans for the winter to spin it, and I felt like this week of rain could be the perfect opportunity. Although you can spin it without washing it, this wool was quite dirty and greasy, so I decided to give it just a really light, gentle wash to get the worst of the dirt and the grease out, and then spread it out to dry for a couple of days before the rain. I also picked up a second-hand sofa recently, which has been sitting outside for a couple of weeks and has already been getting lots of use.
It's quite comfortable.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look comfy.
The dogs love it.
But I wanted to move it inside before the rain, which meant making some space for it. We decided to break apart this old stone wood store, which is not really that useful for us and is taking up precious space in our already very tiny house. In retrospect, we could have probably just put the sofa in the bell tent or in the polytunnel temporarily, but we've been meaning to take out this wood store for a while, and this just gave us the perfect push to get it done. Wow, you did great.
Fill in the wall a bit.
Yeah, we are. We're going to have to do some some plastering, pointing. What we've got down here in this wall, we've uncovered like the original mud mortar that's holding it all in place. So it's literally just kind of like dusty mud. It's not cement or lime or anything. And it's super dusty. You start kind of brushing it out of the holes and it just keeps coming. So I think what we have to do is just brush out as much as we can from the holes and then wet it and then plaster over it. I think we'll use a lime and cement mortar. We've also got this little shelf here. I'm thinking of just keeping it actually, since the rock's going to stick out anyway. Building it up a little bit to about here and having it as like a little shelf next to the sofa just to put drinks or something on.
So we are going to fix some roof tiles by cementing them in with this, well, not cementing, but like
Foaming them in.
foaming them in with this expansive foam.
Down.
I know that this is not like the definitive way of doing this. Like the definitive way of doing this would be to undo the rows and redo them. That would be...
Which we do want to do at some
eventually
point.
we would like to do, but we would like to also survive next week's rainy spell. So we're gonna try to fix as many as we can, and then in the future, when we have time, maybe someday, we'll redo the whole roof.
How'd it go?
So it's in a lot worse shape than I thought it was. Like just walking on them, you just put them out of place, and my feet are too big to walk in between them, so I just have to walk on them and they all move. So it's not in great shape. I think the biggest bits I sort of patched up, but one thing I realized is that if you don't know what you're doing, you use way more than you need to, and like I ran out of 2 bottles very quickly.
Oh well.
I think the roof is not in that bad shape. I think it's like the last time that it leaked, it was because it rained a lot in a very short amount of time, and that's when the little channels can't cope and water goes other places.
The water goes like up here.
Yeah, there's like gaps in between all of them, but I think that's just how it is.
Yeah, traditionally the tiles on these roofs wouldn't even have been cemented in. They would have just been laid in the ups and the downs, like straight on top of the mud mix. So yeah, but we do get a lot of very heavy rain, so layer done, on the walls at least, and the little brick shelf thing built up a little bit. That's basically where I wanted to get to for now, because that means that all the dusty bits of the wall are covered up, and I'll come back when this is dried and put on another layer to smooth it out and actually make it kind of flat. I think we're going to have some lunch, and then after lunch we're going to try and deal with the floor, put some cement down in the biggest gaps, and hopefully by the end of today just get to the point where there's nothing like spewing dust anymore. So I did the floor yesterday. I didn't film it because I wasn't having a great time. As I was doing it, I just kind of felt like I was annoyed that we hadn't spent longer trying to chip away this big rock that's sticking out here and some of the rocks over here as well, because it's just really uneven, and I just felt like we were making things harder for ourselves in the future when at some point we actually do the floors. And then we've got to dig up and break up all of this that I've just put down as well as these rocks that we didn't get out. But I don't know, I did it anyway. I carried on because we just couldn't get this rock out with the tools that we had, and it was taking forever to chip tiny little fragments off it. Maybe if we'd had the big like jackhammer thing we could have done it, but we were just trying to get it done yesterday. Anyway, it doesn't look too bad now, but I know that it's really bumpy, so I was a bit frustrated about that. So the wall is painted, the wall is plastered and painted, the floor is sealed with the glue floor sealant stuff, and the sofa is going back in its place.
With a nice blanket.
Yeah, with some nice blankets on. Ready?
That we only save for guests, and then we can finally use them for ourselves.
Don't put it right against the wall in case the paint is still a tiny bit wet. A bit more.
Wait.
Two next to each other. Two next to each other.
This is huge. Like, it's gonna cover the whole
Really?
thing. Yeah.
Why is it so big? Hello. A few days later, I had the chance to pick up more silicone for the kitchen roof, and I was able to carry on with that job. Hopefully we'll make a bit more progress next week, but this is a pretty typical week for us where other things come up and you just have to put the thing you want to do on the back burner and attend to other more urgent tasks. We're not super happy with what we did this week. We feel like we did a couple of rushed, shoddy jobs ahead of the rain, which has made things harder for ourselves in the long run. And it's annoying because we had so many dry months when we should have prioritised fixing the roof tiles properly instead of rushing it in one morning. I think that's just a lesson for the future. Anyway, I'm happy to be back in the kitchen now, and next time I'll show you the progress I've been making on the next set of cabinets. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next week.